Here are the directions for completing your landmark descriptions template for every landmark that you choose to do. To start, every time you pick a new landmark to do research on, you have to come to Google Classroom, find the Watertown Landmark Map Project section, and go to the assignment that says Landmark, Description Template, and Final. You're going to click on that, and you're going to open the document. Now, when you open it, it's going to say View Only. So every time you open it for a new landmark, you have to go File, make a copy, and then you are going to name it whatever landmark you are going to do, location, description, template, and final. So for this example, I'm going to do WMS. So I'm going to write WMS and then leave the landmark description, template, and final. You're going to make the copy. And then all of your work for this particular landmark is going to be done on this document. Now, very similar to a lot of other assignments we've done for the World's Fair, for other projects, we are going to replace every place that you see parentheses with words in them, you're going to replace that with your own answer. So starting at the top, we have name of landmark, so I'm going to write Watertown Middle School. And then we're just going to go through from top to bottom. So for this one, it just says nickname and abbreviations. You're going to get your information from this section from things that you just generally know, or you can look online to see if there are any nicknames or abbreviations. For the Watertown Middle School, I'm going to put WMS and the middle school. For the next three sections, you're going to need to fill these in based off of information you've gotten through your research. The address, the purpose of the landmark, and why it's a landmark are all going to need to be figured out through research. We're going to talk about research later, but for now I'm just going to show you how you're going to fill it in. For address, we're just going to put in the address of the middle school, which is 68 Waverly Ave. For the purpose of the landmark, you're going to use this sentence starter here. So you're going to leave where it says the purpose of and is, and then you're going to replace the middle part with what the name of the landmark is, and then after this, the actual purpose. Notice how for my purpose of landmark, I have put in a couple sentences discussing the purpose of Watertown Middle School. There are no parentheses in here, and I have left the name of the landmark bold. We're going to discuss in class how to fill out this section, but always keep in mind this little sentence I have down here that says, why would someone go here? So whenever you're doing any kind of landmark, you want to explain why someone would want to go to this landmark. Then for the next section, we have why it's a landmark. And then underneath there, it says, why is this well known in town? We're going to do the same kind of sentence starter here, where you're going to put in the name of the landmark. You're going to leave is a landmark because, and then you're going to explain why it is a landmark. As you can see here, I've written two sentences explaining why Watertown Middle School is a landmark, and specifically why it is well known in town. For the next section, we are going to write down things that give potential usage in conversation for our landmarks. There are two specific sections you're going to do. I'm going to explain exactly the purpose of these in class, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to show you how you are going to write it. So the first one is one made-up quote on the landmark's relative location. So it says below, fill in the parentheses with information on your landmark and then choose one of the blue phrases. So we're going to fill in this right now. We're going to put in WMS is, and then we're going to choose one of these blue phrases and fill the rest in afterwards. So we're going to choose for this one across from. So that means we're going to delete everything else within those parentheses. And then the next thing we need to fill in is a different location. So we could say WMS is across from Moxley Field. And again, we're going to get rid of all of those parentheses. Finally, you need to put in one made-up or real quote about the landmark from a Watertown resident. So, You can either ask a person to give you a quote about your landmark, or you can just make one up. And again, for this one, we're going to replace any parentheses with our actual information. As you can see here, I've put in a quote that I got from an actual person, Mr. Allegro, but again, if you can't find a real person to give you a quote, you can make one up. Once you have all this information in, you're going to go on to the next step, which is taking it and putting it into your final draft of your location.